This is really hard. Hey guys! It's been quite a while since I tried to make a video for YouTube. But lately I've been trying to motivate myself to do all these things that I've wanted to do the past couple years. And so far I've been doing alright, but I keep putting things off, and I'm kind of tired of doing that. So today I wanted to try and make a video for YouTube, but I didn't want to come back and just make something where I'm introducing myself again and talking about me, and it's not like it's a bad thing to talk about me, but I always focus on all of the positives and try to make myself seem like everything is okay and I'm living a happy life. And that's not the case. So today I really wanted to make a video and be real with you guys about something that I deal with every day of my life and have been since as far as I can remember. I want to say I really started noticing it at 16 years old, but I want to talk about depression. I see some people talk about it on YouTube, but it always comes across as almost commercialized. And I know maybe that's not how they mean it, but that's kind of how I take it. It never seems completely genuine because they don't talk about a lot of the things that us with the depression deal with every day. The serious stuff, the stuff that everybody wants to sweep under the rug and not talk about. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about it. I want to touch base on the struggles that I deal with, things that make every day hard for me. And I'm going to talk about some stuff that I really never thought that I would want to put out there for people to know. But I want other people that are dealing with it to know that, you know, they're not alone. They're not the only ones that deal with these things. It's not just personal to them. It's stuff that we all go through when you have depression. And I think it's important to put it all out there and just talk about it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about it. I have a couple main points that I want to bring up with depression. First of all, especially in light of some recent passings that seem to be all over the media the past couple days. If you are struggling with depression, and if you're like me and you grew up in a household that made you feel that medication was not the answer for your problems and that medication was almost demonized, you know, you felt like if you got put on medication, something was wrong with you, like you should be able to function without it. And I think that is such a horrible thing that's perpetuated by society in social circles, and it just keeps spreading and people are very uninformed about it. I grew up thinking that I needed to survive without medication. I needed to be better on my own, and I would be a failure if I had to take medication in order to be a normal person. But as I grew older and my symptoms got worse, I realized that I needed help. I needed to do something, whether I needed to be put on medication, I needed to talk to a therapist, I needed to go to group, I needed to do something. I got really tired of just sitting on the floor in my kitchen crying because I felt like I needed to end my life because I couldn't deal with anything anymore. And so many things went through my head about who was going to take care of my cats, how was my family going to react. All of these things were going through my head. And after a lot of conversations with my mom, who over the years realized that medication does help, she kind of was the nail in the coffin, unfortunate pun, for me to reach out and want to talk to a therapist and finally unload everything that has been going on with me and all the things that I've been dealing with. And it was so nice to speak to somebody that made me feel like I was normal, even though I was going through all of these things. And I think for a lot of people, if they just took that step and talked to somebody without fear of judgment, that we wouldn't, I can't say that we wouldn't have as many suicides, because there's so many things that factor into that, and that's a whole other topic of conversation. But I want to focus on stressing that people really need to get help. Make an appointment if it's possible. I know it's hard for some people. You don't have, health insurance to pay for things, but do research. There's places out there that will work with you. I'm sure that there are some places that do certain services for free. Just take the steps and try to do your best to get help. Because once I spoke to somebody and once I got put on medication, things got so much better. And I'm not saying that things get better immediately, because they don't. Because unfortunately, when you go and get put on medication, they test a bunch of different medications on you. They have to find out what works for you and your body, because not all medications will work for everyone. Sometimes they can make your depression worse. They can make you more suicidal, which is what happened to me. The first medication that I was put on, I tanked. I went down hard. And having that opportunity there, that somebody to speak to during that, I had opened that door, and I knew that I could call somebody and they would say, hey, come in, let's talk, let's change your medication, let's figure out what's going to work for you. And at that point, I was suggested to go to group, which I did. That was very scary for me, because it's already scary enough to speak to somebody in private about things that you're going through, but to share those things with other people that you don't know is even more terrifying. But once you, once you reach out to a therapist, once you reach out to these people that are also going through what you're going through, it makes you feel like you're not alone. And I think that's very important. It gives you camaraderie, and I think that helps a lot in dealing with, depression and everything that comes with it. But it's just medication. Just try it. That's all you can really do, is just try it and see if it helps you. If it doesn't, there's other ways to help you get through depression. And I think honestly, no, medication is probably the most important aspect, but right after that, I think comes self-care, because that's what's going to get you through, the day. Even with medication, you need to take care of yourself. a lot of the things that people don't want to talk about with depression is the things that we stop doing. The gross things that people don't want to admit. The fact that you can't shower every day. Sometimes you'll go a week without showering. You'll know that you need to do it. You'll feel gross. But there's just something that makes you not want to get out of bed, not want to, turn the shower on and take care of yourself. The same goes with, maintaining where you're living, your bedroom. You leave dishes, you don't wash them, you wake up one day and you realize that everything's a cluttered mess because you can't bring yourself to pick it up. And it's hard to deal with that, especially when you're somebody that in your mind you're very driven to do things. You want a clean environment. You want to take care of yourself. You want to wake up fresh-faced and you want to go work out and you want to lose those 10 to 15 pounds. You want to do all of these things and you tell yourself every day, I'm going to do this. Tomorrow, I'm going to do this. But then you wake up and you just don't. You don't do any of those things. And it starts eating at you. And it's really hard to deal with. So, if you're going through these things and you haven't reached out to get medication, you haven't reached out to speak to somebody, please do it. Start there and then just start taking care of yourself. You have to really, really dig deep and find whatever little motivation is still there and just do the things that you need to do. I've thought about it lately, things, or rather ways for me to make sure that I'm doing something every day. And I feel like for me, and maybe for somebody else that wants to try it, maybe make a list of 5 things that you want to get done in a day. 5 simple things. Start small and just do each of those things. If you don't get through the whole list, it's okay. As long as you can manage to do a couple things in a day, you're making progress. But make sure you take your medication, make sure you go to therapy or a group, make sure you're taking the steps that you can to better your situation and the things that you're going through. Because at the end of the day, you are the only person that can make yourself keep going. Your friends, they're busy. They have lives. Like they're not gonna check on you like everybody wants. I would love that. I would love if my friends, checked in with me more often to see if I'm okay, because I suck at keeping contact. I really do. I'm one of those people that I go months without reaching out to people and I feel horrible, but I have so much going on. And I'm always dealing with things because of my depression. There's always something that it's ruining. And I'm not saying that I'm not responsible for my life and the choices that I make and my situation. I can make the changes to grow, but depression is a huge problem. It's a huge roadblock in all of that, and it's very hard to get over it in order to keep going. For me, depression has caused me to lose friends. It's caused me to lose jobs. The biggest thing that I really wanted to talk about, a very serious thing, is last year, due to depression, I lost a job that I was at for 2 years. And I loved that job. I can't say I loved everything about management and how things were run, but I loved what I did. But because of depression, I had a hard time making myself get up and go to work every day. I called off a lot because I was feeling sick, and I think I wasn't really sick in a cold or a flu kind of sense. I was just sick from my depression. I didn't want to see people. I didn't want to talk to people. I just wanted to lay in bed. Like, I didn't want to live. And some people go through that. That's, you know, a very dark side of depression that people don't talk about, you know. And I think it's important to let people know, you know, that they're not the only one going through it. And if I'm the person that airs all of my business on YouTube and puts pride injuring things on the internet to help somebody else feel like they're not the only ones that are going through it, then I'll do it. I'll be the one that, you know, puts myself out there. If it helps somebody stay alive. Thanks for listening, guys.